Hi, good evening.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this virtual town hall for members of District 5. My name is Rahila Ahmed, and I am your elected school board representative on the board. Before we get started, we do have ASL and Spanish language interpretation for this event tonight, and I will pass it over to Ms. Aisha Berkeley from the board office to make sure that this message is translated accordingly.
Interpreting services, servicios de interpretación. Simultaneous interpretation is available in Spanish. La interpretación simultánea está disponible en español. On a computer, at the bottom of the screen will be an interpretation globe. Click that globe and then select Spanish. En una computadora, en la parte baja de la pantalla habrá un globo de interpretación. Haga clic en ese globo y seleccione Spanish. On a mobile device, at the bottom of the screen, tap the ellipsis icon on the bottom right. 3 dots. Tap Language Interpretation. Tap Spanish. En un dispositivo móvil, en la parte baja de la pantalla, toca el icono de elipses en la parte baja de la derecha. 3 puntos. Toque Language Interpretation. Toque Spanish. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Berkeley, and thank you also to Ms. Monroe from the board office for putting this all together. We're all gathered here today to talk about some of the big projects that have been going on in District 5 as it relates to school construction. 3 of those projects we'll be talking about in depth today. The first one is Meadowbrook, the former Meadowbrook Elementary School, that is going to be used as a swing space for PGCPS students that are having their buildings built in other areas of the county. The second one is C. Elizabeth Reig Regional Center, which is located in the city of Bowie. And the last one is the Bowie Annex, also located in the city of Bowie. I'm grateful to have the principals of both C. Elizabeth Reig and of Bowie High School here on the call today. And so I want to yield to each of them for about 30 seconds to introduce themselves and say any comments that they would like before we go into today's agenda. We'll start here with Principal Adelaide Blake from C. Elizabeth Reig. Principal Blake.
Yes, thank you very much, Board Member Ahmed. So yes, my name is Adelaide Blake. I'm the principal of the wonderful C. Elizabeth Reig Regional School. And we are so very excited, our students, the staff, the parents, we're very excited about the work that has occurred and it's still occurring because we're still going through the process. in our building. It is definitely going to be an asset for the work that we're trying to do with our students. And so we're looking forward to the completion. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Blake. And now I'll pass it over to Principal Kautzer from Bowie High School.
Hey, good evening, and apologize for being on my phone. I'm at a playoff baseball game for Bowie High School right now against Flowers High School. But anyway, Joe Kautzer, principal of Bowie High School, really excited to join this call tonight. The construction work that has been happening and the renovations at the annex building, which I like to call the 9th grade campus building, have been fantastic already. Our staff are already impressed and feeling increased pride about the facility. And I know the students, the incoming 9th graders will too.
Thank you, Principal Kautzer. Folks, at this point in time, I just want to talk a little bit about the agenda for today. So for the next 35, 40 minutes or so, you'll hear from different officials in Prince George's County Public Schools and folks that are on the ground that have been working on these construction projects, starting with Meadowbrook, moving on to C. Elizabeth Reig, and then finally ending with the Bowie High School Annex. At the end of that time period, we'll have about 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A. And so if at any point in time y'all are interested in asking a question, please put it in the Q&A box. And at the end, I'll be facilitating those questions with the members of the team that are on this call today. With that, I will pass it over to Mr. Sean Matlock to introduce the members of the team that have been working on these respective projects and allowing them to present on each project as well. Mr. Matlock? Mr. Matlock, you're on mute. Mr. Matlock is trying to get off of mute. If the host can help with that, thank you. Just give us one moment, y'all, as we're trying to work through these technical difficulties. In the meanwhile, please observe and look at all the beautiful faces on your screen today. These are the hardworking folks that have been trying to make the changes that are needed for our district over the past year. Even though very many of us may not have been in the building a lot, I'm sure these folks have been in and around and thinking of our buildings nonstop. And so it's very exciting to be able to talk about some of the work that's been done. I see Mr. Matlock has left the room, is probably going to come back in. In the meanwhile, I do want to introduce one of our chiefs in PGCPS, Mr. Mark Fawcett. Mr. Fawcett, would you like to introduce yourself and say a word or two before, as we're waiting for Mr. Matlock?
Good evening, board member Ahmed and your whole entire community. I was trying to assist Mr. Matlock also. I'm texting him like, you're frozen. But we're working that out. But we're just excited to be here. The capital improvement team has a lot to talk about the good work that's going on in your district. And tonight, as board member Ahmed said, you'll hear about some projects that are ongoing at the sites he mentioned earlier. We're excited just to continue our work, not only in your district, but throughout the whole county. Our capital programs right now has embarked upon some, I guess, monumental projects. We're doing things in the county that have never been done in terms of K-12 construction throughout the country. And we hope to continue to move forward and try to create environments for our students that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fawcett. I'm thinking I'm not seeing Mr. Matlock jump back on. So if the folks that are presenting on Meadowbrook would like to just jump in, feel free to jump in.
Well, good afternoon, team. My name is Will Smith. I'm the project management supervisor for the Department of Capital Program. Joining us, we have Joe Howell, which is our project manager 3 for Department of Capital Program. Also, we have Hewitt Haile Selassie, who is the project manager for C. Elizabeth Reig and Bowie Annex renovation projects. And then we also have Komor Muse, who is the project manager for the Meadowbrook modular installation. And so with that, we're going to start off first by showing a maybe we give a brief introduction of kind of where we are. So Meadowbrook, as you guys know, we're installing, or maybe you not know, we're installing a 10 classroom modular complex on that site to assist with additional capacity that will be needed for swinging Hyattsville to that site. We are actively working with the engineer, City of Bowie, Department of Permitting Inspection Enforcement with Prince George's County, and the contractor in order to get this actively designed, permitted, and constructed in order to get it on site and ready for occupancy at the start of this school year. I'm going to show a brief example of one of the other modular complexes that was installed previously over at Akakita Academy. That way you can kind of get a visual of what the complex will look like. And so bear with me while I share briefly. So as you guys can see, those units will be a wonderful addition over to that site. You know, they are really self-contained units that will have all of the upgrades that we really need for the students of our county. Of course, you know, as you saw, it would have the security features, it would have the Wi-Fi, we'll have smart boards, you know, had ADA ramp and ADA accessibility throughout the facility and space, you know, great lighting throughout, you know, VCT town that is, you know, that is new and updated and lighting, LED lighting for throughout the space as well. To illuminate those areas and really just a nice modular complex to add there to assist with their capacity issues. In addition, it's going to be fully sprinklered. That one that we saw there did not have a sprinkler system, but the one that is being installed will have a fully sprinklered system in that facility. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to the project manager just to give kind of a timeline and talk about kind of where we are currently and to discuss the schedule going forward from here. Kumar?
Yeah, good evening all, board member and also other members of the panel. As you've heard and as you've seen, probably we have a work cut out for us in terms of being able to accomplish the project within the shortest possible time. It's a project designated and also sanctioned by the school board and also the entire hierarchy. We have marching orders and probably our main goal is probably to have the building ready by the first day of school. Fortunately, we've been able to probably just have a jump start, you know, trying to get some of the tasks completed. But as we all know, it's not that easy as construction is not an exact science. But notwithstanding, based on our prior experience, you know, we're trying as much as possible either to improvise or to probably anticipate, you know, obstacles that we may or may not run into to make sure that we get this project wrapped up and then ready for school come September. To start with, I think to date, you know, we've been able to obtain the county council, the Bowie County Council approval for new water connection. The reason we're getting a new water connection to the school is currently we have a 3-inch water line to the facility. Unfortunately, with the new temp building, with the new modular building that we're putting in, the code required that the building be sprinkled. So based on that, the existing line will not be adequate. So that's why we are bringing a new water line. And the city of Bowie has on the 17th of May granted a temporary approval for us to proceed with that. In the meantime, throughout the month of June, there are a number of benchmarks, you know, that we're looking forward to accomplish, you know, by, you know, the construction team currently is reviewing the sites and the modular drawings and also working with DPI to complete the review of all site work and modular permit sets. Once this is done, you know, DPI will probably convey a pre-construction meeting, which will attend, the school system will attend, along with the city of Bowie and the contractor. For those of you that might have been going through the school, probably driving by the school of late, yes, there's a little bit of asbestos abatement work ongoing right now to take care of some of the current asbestos abatement. That is being handled by the school system, and we hope to have that wrapped up before the end of June. And in the meantime, we're also getting the stormwater concept approval, WSSC site utility plan, combined sediment control, and this sediment control concept plan, stormwater management plan approval from the city of Bowie, and the site development and fine grading plan, also from the city and also from DPI. These are all set for June. Then come July to August, you know, that's where we'll probably have to do most of the heavy lifting. Because by then it's we probably by July, you know, between July and August, we expect to probably start the site or at least complete the site survey, do the utility marking, site stabilization for silt fence and stormwater management, soil boring, bioretention pond, which is required, you know, in order for us to do any site work on any facility in Prince George's County. And then once that's in place, you know, then we'll also have to probably install the new water line from Moreland Drive to the school. This will be coordinated with the city of Bowie and WSSC. Then once we also move on at the same time, simultaneously, we'll have to work on the foundation for the modulars. Once the foundation is in place, then we will set the modulars. They are being constructed in the factory. You know, they are prefabricated their structures, as you can see from the video. Now, for some of you, you may think it's an individual facility, individual building that you see all the time around the county, but this is unique in the sense that it's a self-contained facility and a state-of-the-art in terms of it has all the amenities, with the exception of the multipurpose room and the lunchroom. But it's self-contained. It has the restroom, classroom, and all the other facilities that's needed, to function independently. And then once we also have to increase the parking space, on the sidewalk, install steps and ramp to the modular and the back of the building. Because of what we're doing with the sprinkler and with the building itself, we have to upgrade the power, the electric connection to the building. And we're working with BG&E right now to probably have that accomplished in no time. And once we have that, we'll also simultaneously we'll be doing the interior work, data security, Wi-Fi, fire alarm, sprinkler, and all the other things, parking, and also striping the parking lots. We hope to have all this wrapped up by August, because these kids have to be in that school, they have to be in that building. So it behooves us, to probably anticipate whatever it is and whatever we need to do within now and then to make sure the building is ready. So, and our moving right now target is by the end of August. That's our target, to moving into the facility. That's all I have.
The network went down on me. I had to scramble to get back on here. And we don't expect to have too much traffic problems while this is going on. I know it was a question for the neighborhood. We are expecting maybe when they work on the water main there a little bit to bring the sprinkler system in, that they'll have flaggers. But when they bring in the system, bring in the modular, they don't anticipate to have any issues with navigating the street or bringing in. I spoke with Brad Goodman, who's their project manager for the contracting company, and we should have no issues there. And in addition to this, we're hoping to add an addition onto this building into the future. Right now it's just a plan, but we're looking to put about a new gym and about 16 classrooms addition onto the building to make it a little bigger for future use. What we expect to do that sometime within the next couple of years, but right now it's going to be also done as a modular structure or modular build. So it'll be built offsite and then dropped in place. And so that's generally what we're looking at doing for the future at Meadowbrook. With that, I guess we can move on to C. Elizabeth Reig. I think Erica, you had a presentation.
Great. And I think Ms. Monroe, you were going to share your screen. Did I see she dropped off? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay. So good evening, everyone. I'm Erica Lehman from DLR Group Architects. Had the pleasure of working with the community over at C. Elizabeth Reig on this project for about the last year and a half. So I get to share with you some of the exciting work that we've done there. It's been largely completed, as Ms. Blake was saying. So for those of you who aren't familiar with C. Elizabeth Reig, this is a regional school, so it serves students who are severely affected in the county and can't be supported in their neighborhood schools. So they reach from the area you sort of see in the brown boundary. That's the area that serves that C. Elizabeth Reig serves, and it serves students really running across the whole grade spectrum who have special needs and are served in this particular program. You'll see in some of the images that the school really, really needed some help. So some of the upgrades that we were able to make on the project really were major systems upgrades. So those are things that support the building, such as HVAC systems, fire alarm systems, sprinklers, new lighting throughout, new interior finishes throughout. So we really were able to set this building up to last those teachers and students and families really for decades and decades to come. In addition to that, we had some academically focused interior renovation work that we did. Particularly with this special needs population, some of those spaces that were critical were things like the health suite and OT/PT rooms, really ways that we could increase the usefulness of those spaces, the size of some of those spaces, and really overall upgrade and renovate those spaces. In addition, we did a lot of interior upgrades to get new flooring, new painting. So you'll see the photos. It looks like a very different building today than it did just about a year and a half ago. And then in addition to that, we have sort of FF&E, which is furniture, fixtures, and equipment in sort of architecture lingo. And so that's some of the new technology for the classrooms, some new furniture or built-in cabinets that would go into the academic and support spaces, as well as some new furniture for the whole building. Some we have relocated some existing furniture. So I'm going to run through just so you can see some of the things that we achieved here. So things that have already been completed to date. You'll see before and after photos. So the before is on the left here, that's the existing entry. We didn't really make a huge number of changes to that entry, but we were able to sort of paint it, upgrade it, give it a little additional life to go a little further into the future, and frankly, just make the entrance more lively and welcoming, related back to, kind of making people feel happy about coming in the building, really trying to call out the school name a little in a little more highlighted way so that people see those kinds of changes even on the outside, although the project was predominantly an interior renovation project. In addition, then as you come through the doors, you see this change in the entry vestibule. So it's kind of dark, kind of closed in feeling space. Now this is very open all the way looking through into the school building, but it also has some enhanced security features so that when you come in the building, you loop through the administrative area so that we can make sure that only appropriate people are coming in the building and monitoring, making sure that someone can see what's happening, that students don't actually exit the building when they shouldn't be exiting the building. So the materials in the corridors were kind of old. The lighting was kind of old. So you see here on the right, some new floor finishes that really have brightened up the space. The new lighting, new ceilings has really made a difference. One of the other things that we did with the corridors and really throughout the school was to use color for orientation. So it will really help students be able to identify where they are in the building. The building is sort of a 4-square plan building, which means you can get a little disoriented in it. You sort of, am I in this wing? Am I in that wing? So we try to use color to help reinforce that orientation. So you'll see this is a different wing with sort of a different base color scheme behind it. So that was one way to try to help make this new, as well as things like new tack boards and such in the corridors so that student work can be properly displayed throughout the facility. This happens to be the corridor that kind of ties everything together. There's a lovely outdoor courtyard, which the school has some very cool turtles in. I love that space. And so this is in that corridor, the 4 colors are kind of coming together. And then these are some images of sort of the new main entrance with the interlocking tiles. So really just kind of creating a new character, upgrading it, hopefully making everybody feel sort of special and loved. And as they're proud of their space as they get to come into the space when they came back, I guess in April, I think it was. Of course, besides sort of systems and big picture general overview stuff, we tackled all of the classrooms. So every classroom in the building has new flooring, new lights, new ceilings, new paint finishes, new doors, new door hardware. Some had some existing technology and that stayed if that was in good condition. If it wasn't, we replaced it with some new technology. So you can see that, as well as, again, this kind of color for helping to orient within the classroom and within the school overall. Another view of a different classroom setup. Here you see on the left, this blue kind of framework was there to help create some sense of privacy. A lot of students need to be changed during the course of the day. So each of the classrooms where that was appropriate, we've created changing areas that have a cubicle curtain around them so that there's a more enhanced sense of privacy and really, I think, a better experience both for the folks doing the changing as well as needing to help change folks. One of the key elements of this particular school is observation so that other people can come and be outside of the classroom, but be able to look inside of the classroom in a way where the student inside is not able to see what's going on. So we, in all cases, have upgraded the observation. This image actually it's not quite complete. We're putting a one-way film on there to allow people to see in, but students not to be able to see out, which will help with a more sort of natural observation. Really critical component in this building was accessible toilets. And that might not seem important to some people, but it is incredibly important when you're dealing with students who have wheelchairs and other assistive devices. And you have folks who have to be in there with them to help them. So really spend a lot of time and effort in making sure that these rooms are really going to accommodate all of the needs that the teachers and assistants have in the building. We took a space that was in the building, which is sort of a unique space, which was a workshop that was used to build some assistive equipment. That's actually been located in a centralized location, and the workshop wasn't really in use any longer. We were able to capitalize on that space and turn it into some other spaces that we needed within the building. So on the right, you see just part of the speech room, really setting that up with some nice casework to help support the activities that happen in the speech room. And then we also converted that into an additional larger life skills lab. So what you see on the left was really just what I would refer to as sort of a small galley kitchen that was being used to teach life skills to students. This is where this room would be set up to be similar to an apartment or home style kitchen, as well as some other living spaces, and really folks learning how to prepare meals, how to wash dishes, how to make the bed. So this picture that you see on the right there will be kitchen equipment. So we're expecting additional funding in July. As Ms. Blake said, there's a few things that kind of are still moving on through the course of the project. So when that funding comes in is when we'll be getting the kitchen equipment that you don't see in that picture. And then the last space that we were really able to convert from that workshop space was an expanded health suite. So you see on the left a little image of what the previous health suite was like. We now have a proper office space for the nurse to be in and be able to do work in a quiet setting, but also be able to observe through those windows what's happening with students who are there in the health suite. And then we also have additional cot spaces so that students have a place to be if they need to be in the health suite for, maybe a more extended period of time or waiting for a parent to come pick them up. And we have a fully accessible bathroom with a roll-in shower. So that's really going to help students who might have an issue, might need some assistance, or might need to shower or change in the course of the day. So super happy we are able to make that work for them. And then we also did renovation into the interior of the gym. So they have a very nice sized gym. It's got some great lighting already, natural light in it, which is always nice when you can have that in a gym. But it had seen sort of a better day in terms of the flooring. So we have a really nice flooring in there that has a little bit of a softer cushion to it, a little more comfort for the students, as well as just kind of repainted and brightened up the space with the lighting. A few upcoming milestones here left to do on the project that'll be worked on through the course of the summer. So each classroom will get a new built-in sink cabinet and some additional cabinets and cubbies. They are there, have been delivered. We're waiting for the end of the school year, and those will get installed over the course of the summer. And then, as we said, the furniture has been selected, and once that July funding comes into place, we'll be able to get that furniture PO issued and get that purchased and hopefully arrive in time for the start of the school year and change out some of that existing furniture for new. And then last but not least, sort of this is the floor plan of CE Reig as it is. As I said, this is largely an interior renovation project. So we did change quite a number of spaces around in their configuration, and these areas in pink are the spaces that we really expanded, those toilet facilities, that sort of thing. But really one of the reasons we wanted to show you this is that there was maybe one silver lining to COVID. And that was that this project was intended to be a 6-phase occupied construction project where we were going to be working through this building and upgrading all of the things I just talked about with students and teachers in place in the building. And we were very aware that that was going to be a complicated little jigsaw puzzle. And I think one positive thing that came out of COVID was with the building not being occupied for that period of time, we really were able to do the building in a much more holistic way without disturbing folks who were there, so that the things that we have left to do while the school year kicked back up again had been sort of the less intrusive work, and the things that we still have left to do can be held off until the end of the school year. So I will take my COVID silver lining as much as we can. So that's it for CE Reig. Again, if you have any specific questions, please just put it in the Q&A. We'll get to that after, and I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Erica. I think our last presenter is Hewitt, Haley Selassie, who's going to present on the Bowie Annex renovation.
Yes, and for some reason I'm struggling to stop sharing. So, sorry. Why can I not share? There it is. Lost my icon. Okay. Hewitt, oh, you got it. Hewitt, you're on mute.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hewitt Selassie. I'm the project manager for Bowie Annex High School. And welcome everyone, board member, Mr. Gila, and everybody from the community and principals. This is a very exciting project. It's the Bowie Annex. It is a system upgrade combined with interior renovation. Both Bowie Annex and CE Reig are something we are trying new in Prince George's County. We usually do, used to do either systems upgrade or interior renovation, by portions. But with this Bowie Annex and CE Reig, we are trying to combine both so that we'll be able to tackle both at the same time and address multiple things at one go. So the Bowie Annex Limited Renovation Project, we had systemical renovations. We have a full HVAC upgrade. We replaced the roof. We are in the process of installing two new chillers and upgrading the fire alarm system, installation of the sprinkler system. We're putting new LED light everywhere, upgrading the water main, and upgrading the electric supply. But also we have full renovation. There are two kinds of renovations that are happening in the school. A portion of the building is getting full renovation, and a portion of the building is also getting a renovation, but it's not as full renovation as you have the portion that is getting the full renovation. We're getting like foundations of technology classroom, laboratories, family and consumer lab, computer lab. And also we're getting 2 each of fully ADA accessible bathrooms, gang bathrooms for both boys and girls. And this is a phased project, and we are tackling it since it's a big building. Even though there was COVID and we were able to actually get to most of the systemic portion of it during COVID and address a lot of the issues that were we would have phased, but still we still had to phase it because of the reopening the school, and we were closing portions of the school to keep the renovation project going. So here are some of the interior renovation work that we're doing. We did quite a bit of abatement. Almost all the floors in the Bowie Annex have been abated. There is a few spaces left that are going to be abated during the summer, and but apart from that, there will be no asbestos in the building. And so the floor, the architect tried to, create some fun spaces on the floor again, just that as you can compare it, this is the old on the left and the one on the right. You can see the well-lit space and, the nice floors and the nicely painted walls. Office spaces that have been upgraded, painting, and there are also new air conditioning system, HVAC system. And this is the cafeteria. This was the one you see on the left is the old, and here is the new on the right. This is the old laboratory area. As you can see, there is a major difference between the two. We have a fully upgraded laboratory, 3 fully upgraded laboratories, wet laboratories, and that are well built for the 21st century learning. And this is the life skills, the family and consumer classroom, which are going to be, fully equipped with, for students who are interested in learning, to cook, for who will be taking those classes. It's a fully equipped consumer and family and consumer classroom. And the classrooms upgraded here, new LED fixtures, new flooring, new painting. And with us, during the summer, we will be installing new marker boards and tack boards, where the old marker boards and tack boards that had asbestos backing have been abated. This is, as you can see, in progress work of the 2 new bathrooms that each for, 2 each for boys and girls that have been updated to be ADA compliant. We have 6 temporary classrooms that are going to be able to house more students in the school. These are not the fully, they're not connected like the ones that are going in Meadowbrook, but they will have an access to the main classroom, to the main school through a secure access point. So these are more, so this is phase 2 of the school work that we did. That was done in phase 1. The phase 2, there were 3 classrooms, performing arts classrooms in the upstairs, and 4 regular classrooms downstairs that were done in phase 2. And they're completed on the 10th of April. And students moved in them on the April 15th. And, these are the band rooms, the 3 band rooms upstairs on the main level. So right now, what we are is on phase 3. So this, the phase 3 project, the phase 3 is scheduled to be completed by the 21st of June. And there are 9 classrooms on the main level that are being completed as, the contractor is working on. So what is upcoming is phase 4. If you look at this, there is a gymnasium, administration hallway, and making sure that we have a vestibule, a secure vestibule. Right now, Bowie Annex doesn't have a secure entrance vestibule to the school. Anybody who walks in can go anywhere, but we are redirecting traffic through the secretaries, through the administration hallway and through the secretary's office, so that everybody will be able to sign in before going anywhere else. So one thing that I would like to point out is we have been able to, to do quite a bit of, phase 1 that you can see here was done because COVID, just like Erica said, this is one of the opportunities we took to do a lot of work during the COVID. And we were able, initially part of this work was phase 2, but we did most of it in phase 1. So we still have to, we're finishing up work in Bowie Annex, and we're hoping to get done by August. And in installation of, we want to finish up the the electric switchgear installation and installation of the air handler unit 3, which is located in the gym. The related pipe work in the gym will be completed during the summer, and also replacement of the water main and installation of the fire pump, which will assist in making sure that the sprinkler system in Bowie Annex is completely functional the way it should be. And if you have any questions pertaining to this project, I will be available to answer them.
Thanks, Hewitt. Board Member Ahmed, we'll kick it back to you. I think that's all our presentations.
Sure. Thank you so much to all the members of the team that were here to present on these different projects. There are a couple of questions in the chat box, folks. If you still have more questions, please put them into the chat box. We're going to the Q&A section now. I understand that Mr. Matlock addressed some of the Meadowbrook questions already, but there is one Meadowbrook question that I want to uplift for the team here. And that question is around, have there been any traffic studies or any understanding of traffic as it relates to student drop-off and dismissal at the Meadowbrook site?
I'm not aware of any traffic studies that we've done recently. This was a school before, an elementary school, so we haven't really increased the traffic dramatically. Tulip Grove was there just about a year ago, or a little bit better than a year ago. So we don't anticipate there being any more traffic than was utilized there at that time, but there's been no recent traffic study.
Can I say something also, probably, Mark? In addition to that, we also have to keep in mind that this is going to be regional. You probably will really have traffic, from parents drop off, because the kids are going to be bused from another location. So you're not going to have a traditional traffic that you will have, even compared to what we have when we had the Tulip Grove at that location.
Thank you both so much for that. I do want members of the community to know that as of right now, the students that will be coming into attend at the Meadowbrook campus are students from Hyattsville. At least that is the plan currently. And so if folks did not know that the Hyattsville Middle School is going to be rebuilt. And so the students from Hyattsville it is the plan that they will be coming into that space for now. I see another couple questions here around the Bowie Annex. And so I'll uplift those questions. One of those questions is, will there be any upgrades to the guidance department? For example, carpet removed. And this is for the Bowie Annex.
Yes, that is part of the summer renovation. There is an abatement that is going on in the guidance and in the main principal's office that is slated to be done during the summer.
Thank you so much. And then the other question around the annex is, are smart boards or LCD projectors being installed in the annex classrooms?
The 12 fully renovated classrooms are slated to get smart boards. And that is what is in the budget for the smart boards. And if we will, depending on the price of the smart boards, if we're getting 1 or 2 extra, we'd love to do that. But that is going to be, that's a wait and see thing if we can do additional smart boards.
Thank you. Those are all the questions that I see in the chat box right now. Members of the community, if you have any other questions, please do feel free to put them into the Q&A section. I keep saying chat box, I mean the Q&A box, so that we can answer those questions for you right now. We'll give folks another moment or so to see if there's anything, any other questions. There's a question here about, do only Bowie Summit students go to the Bowie Annex? That may be a question for Principal Kautzer to answer. It's my understanding that it's not just the Summit students, but Principal Kautzer, go ahead.
Yeah, good question. No, I mean, all incoming 9th grade students attend our classes at the 9th grade campus at the Annex building, including our Summit students. And so it's worth noting that we have obviously the 2 campuses, and so we do run shuttles during the day. Some students have classes in both buildings in periods 3 and 4. And so we do run shuttles between the day and during the day for students who have afternoon classes at the main campus and then maybe a 4th period back at the Annex building. So we do have all of our 9th grade students at the Annex building.
Thank you, Principal Kautzer. Other questions from members of the community? I see a couple coming in. Is the handicap lift in the annex, is there any upgrades to that?
We have added an additional handicap lift, and we are looking into to see that the building services is working on the current handicap lift, and we will look into replacing the other handicap lift also, if budget allows.
Excellent. A couple more questions are coming in. This question is, are students utilizing their laptops in the classrooms next year? This is for Bowie High School.
Yeah, that's very much one of the silver linings that's coming out of this school year, is that all of our students are expected to be one-to-one and will have their laptops with them. And I think that's a real new educational opportunity we have, and we're really much looking forward to that.
I do want to uplift for community members. There are some awesomes. There's some positivity in the Q&A. The Q&A has turned into comments, and they are positive comments. So thank you for that. There's a question around timeline for update to the Bowie High School main campus.
So Bowie High School is a cycle 2 school, which means that right now we're in the middle of, or moving towards the back end of cycle 1, and cycle 2 will begin once we're concluded with all the cycle 1 schools. So there's still quite a bit of work to be done in cycle 1. So it'll probably be quite a few years before we actually get to doing Bowie High School. When we do Bowie High School, it won't be a renovation, it'll be a rebuild. Our plan is to rebuild a new Bowie High School and expand it to fit the population that it currently has, so you don't have to be split between multiple campuses.
Thank you. And Mr. Matlock, I can maybe add a little bit to that. Cycle 1 is going to continue probably for another 6 years, correct? And then cycle 2 will last probably another 6 years, but I don't believe we as a board have indicated or voted upon what the cycle 2 year breakdown will look like at this time, but
no.
That's all correct?
Yeah, the cycle 1 is still continuing. Cycle 2 will continue along the same, it'll probably be about the same length. It has roughly the same number of schools in it. And that will, and then once there will be an order voted on once we start finishing up the feasibility studies for cycle 2. But there is I'm pretty certain from my understanding that Bowie High School is pretty high up in that on the list there because of its condition.
Thank you. This is a question about lunchtime. How will lunchtime look like next school year? Will there be security at the restrooms to ensure proper distancing work will occur in the fall? That might be a Principal Kautzer question.
Yeah, well, look, we're still, when it comes to physical distancing guidelines and things like that, we're going to be waiting to see what the local health department has to say with regards to those answers. But, you know, so I'll wait and see before I can give a definitive answer. It really depends on what the health department says.
Thank you. And then there's another question about Bowie High School. For my clarification, is Bowie High School slated to be rebuilt in the next 3 years?
No. Right now we still, we have a number of schools to get through cycle 1. It'll probably be another 6 years before we get through cycle 1, at least, given where we are, as you said before. But as soon as we get into cycle 2, we're going to start prioritizing, again, some of the schools in the north. I think there are 5 schools in District 5 that are in cycle 2.
Thank you. There's a question here about the annex. In the annex, will any lockers be moved? Sorry, will any lockers be removed to make the hallways larger?
We have, oh yes, Mr. Kautzer. We have already moved a good bunch of the lockers that were in excess and downstairs, and to create a really nice hallway in the science wing, which is where the laboratories and the foundations of technology classrooms are. And we are also anticipating that we will move the lockers in the band room area during the summer. But I think that would be the last of the lockers that we will be able to move, because it will bring the numbers down significantly if we move any more lockers, and each student needs a locker.
All right, if there are any other questions from community members, please do send them in now. We're reaching our time, so we can take maybe another 1 or 2 before we close out. All right, folks, I'm not seeing any more questions coming in. So with that, I want to thank all, oh, I spoke too soon. One more question. I recall hearing that the county was moving towards a partnership with the private industry to help escalate the rebuilding of schools in the county. Is that still the plan?
Currently, we are building 6 middle schools using that methodology. We hope to build some more schools, though the selection of those schools has not been made. The state has provided us some additional funding, about $750 million over 30 years that we can utilize in that vein. And so we're looking to do a second tranche or a second set of schools using that methodology. It is dramatically accelerating the construction timeframe through cycle 1, which enables us to get to cycle 2 a lot faster than we otherwise would have been able to do so.
Thank you for that answer. I will add to that the 6 schools that Mr. Matlock has mentioned, those schools are not in District 5, so they are not in Bowie, and they're not in parts of Mitchellville and Upper Marlboro. Another 2 questions. One question is, will the outside walls of the annex be cleaned / power washed?
I'll take that question. We can make sure that happens. It may not be part of construction, but we'll make sure it happens during the summertime.
Wow, everybody mark it. Mark these words from Dr. Fawcett. It will be done. It shall be done. The last question here that I'll ask before we close out is, does this bring more seats to the school? I'm assuming this means this is bring more capacity, state rated capacity for the school building. It's unclear about which school. I'm assuming this might be for the annex. And then also the question is, do students wear school uniforms next year? So 2 questions, one probably from Principal Kautzer and the other one for
Regarding the capacity, I think Hewitt can talk about this. There were some spaces that were renovated to provide additional classroom spaces as well in the project.
Regarding the space, there was a big teacher's lounge that was converted into a Foundations of Technology classroom. And there was also a wrestling room that was moved to the main building that was converted into a classroom, and also an additional classroom inside that didn't have any functioning air conditioning or that was never utilized. So we, in the renovation of the building has actually increased the classroom size by 3, and there are 6 temporary classrooms, additional classrooms. But will there be increasing capacity? I think that's a Mr. Kautzer question.
So yeah, with regards to the uniforms, I mean, the second part of the question, yeah, we are not a uniform school. We do abide by a dress code, and that's the same policy we've had in effect for the last recent 10 years or more. So that will be the same dress code policy that we've had in years past.
Thank you. And y'all, I said I would, stop the questions, but this question comes with a offer as well. And so I want to uplift that. The question is, can we beautify the grounds at the annex and main high school? And the offer is, I can help plant perennial flowers.
Yes, yes, and yes, Erica. Thank you so much for offering that. We will get in touch. If you can drop your email in the chat, I'll get in touch with you tonight.
Perfect. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone who presented on this call, everyone that joined this call, this town hall. I think it really means a lot that there's so much work being done in our community for our students. And thank you to everyone on this call for their part in that work. And thank you for all the members of the community that joined to learn about the work. Please do spread the word to your friends, your community members, your parents, parent colleagues, your fellow students about the work that has occurred. And if there are any further questions about what's going on, feel free to reach out to the Board of Education office. Feel free to email me, and we can make sure that those questions get answered. But without a doubt, I appreciate everyone for joining today. And thank you again. We will see you all on the other side of construction. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Ahmed, for having us speak. Appreciate it.
Most welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.